Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Tuesday, December 6th. I'm Gary Stevens. It is the first Tuesday of the month, which means we feel the zeal. Spotlighting the city of Zeeland on WHTC's Talk of the Town. In a little more than a half hour from now, we'll be joined by the Master Gardener, Jan Musen of DeBrine Seed on Washington and Elm in Zeeland. But for our next few minutes, we will have a chance to catch up with things going on at Zeeland City Hall with the mayor of the city of Zeeland, Kevin Klynstra, on the other side of our table this morning, or shall we say on the other side of our Zoom connection. Kevin, good morning. I hope all is well with you and everyone in Zeeland today.
Good morning, Gary. Yeah, everything's going great.
Municipal election, of course, is next year, so we won't need to talk about any re-election plans right now. But real quick, your thoughts about the election and how does the results sort of look for the city of Zeeland and maybe getting some things from Lansing now that there are going to be some changes going on in Lansing based on what the voters said on November the 8th.
Yeah, hopefully everything will be okay. It's been a while since Democrats had both the House and the Senate. We all know this side of the state leans the Republican way, so hopefully that doesn't hurt us. The east side of the state is more Democratic, and sometimes we think they get more than what we do, and hopefully it doesn't get any worse than that, and it stays pretty much the way it is now.
Do you get a sense, perhaps, that the divide that the state has had, and this is not a new thing. This is something that's been there for years. The we against them mentality that we've seen. Can there be some unifying? And maybe perhaps with Democrats controlling the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch, you would think that maybe if they had an idea to unify, this would be a good time to do it, since we won't have divided government for at least 2 years. But it just seems as if, and it's a we against them mentality right now, that if this state's going to move forward, we can't have that.
I agree, Gary. Both federal and state, and we in the city we don't have parties. It's we're all one, and I think that works well. Maybe it wouldn't work as well in a big government, but boy, it's you said it's been happening for a long time, but I think it's getting worse. It's just this they don't want to listen to each other. They don't want to work together. And you can't have it. If the state wants to move forward, they have to listen to each other, and they have to work together and get things done. So maybe with the Democrats controlling everything, maybe they'll get some things done, and hopefully it's for the good of the state and not just for the good of their party
or their constituents or their party base. We'll see. We'll see if we see some statesmen and stateswomen emerging from this election. It just, we can but hope, and for us believers, we can but pray. If you got a question for Zeeland Mayor Kevin Klynstra, he'll be happy to answer it at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. Before we touch upon some of the things that were put forward before the city council during last night's meeting, I want to backtrack a little. We didn't really have a chance to talk too much about it a month or so ago, but it's been a topic we've been discussing for a while, the efforts for snow melt in downtown Zeeland. And it's nice to have, and hopefully it'll be put in and it'll work out very well. But as well as I do, there has to be a cost involved because, nothing comes for free. Snowmelt operational cost that's going to be, unfortunately, or just say a matter of factly, it's got to be passed on to some of the property owners there. have you been getting the indication that those who will be benefiting from snow melt are sort of coming to the fact that, yeah, if we want this, we're going to have to pay for it a little bit?
And we've been upfront with that all along. That we've said that we've our ARPA money that we received, we were going to use to so they wouldn't have to pay the cost up front for the installation. But for operational costs, yeah, they've known all along that they're going to have to pay for that, and we're looking at different ways how to do that. So that's still not settled, but yeah, it's. I think it'll be worth the cost, and I think the store owners believe the same way. Otherwise, they would have came out in droves and said, no, we don't want this. So we had lots and lots of meetings individually and as groups, and the majority of them said, let's do this.
Now, the other thing too, and illuminate us a little bit on this, is there a lot of homeowners, or I should say residential owners involved in the snowmelt, or is this pretty much a commercial district situation?
Uh, Majority is commercial. There's, I think, one or two houses on this section, maybe three. There's one apartment house and two houses, so there is a few. So yeah, but the majority of them are businesses and school, and of course, I say residential. The slide building, the new development over there, is going to be residential. So that's pretty much the reason why we extended it to Maple Street. And so, but they requested that they would like their residents to be able to have snow melt in front of their place. So yeah, so that I think will be beneficial for them, and not only the people that are living there, but people outside the area, the people that come to visit our downtown. It'll be beneficial for them too. So it's beneficial for the whole city. I preach all along that our downtown is the center of our city, and it's a very important part of the city. And whatever we can do for our downtown is beneficial for the city.
Good morning. You're on the line with Zeeland Mayor Kevin Klynstra.
Yeah, I got a question for Kevin. A lot of times on the agenda for the council, they talk about Zeeland's master plan. What is that? What does that include? Is that for 50 years, 10 years? What is included in that, and has the council followed that master plan?
Yes, that's why we have it. We look at that quite often. In fact, the planning commission just updated it, I believe last year or the year before. We try to look at it every 5 years. Yeah, it's a good plan. It's a good thing to look at and to follow as we go along. And it's it's a good device, especially for the planning commission as they have people come and ask to do certain things in town, and we can look at that and say, yes, that's what was in the master plan, or no, that doesn't look like it would fit in the city of Zeeland. And the city council uses it as well, so we look at that quite often.
Yeah, go up. I was going to say, listener, that you had asked how long is this plan for? How far ahead do you, Kevin, do you look ahead with this plan? Or shall we say, when does it get revised?
Well, we just did it, and I believe it's every 5 years that we try to look at it. And the planning commission does that.
Is the snowmelt part of the master plan?
That was probably something that was in our downtown vision, which is another part of it, that not really part of the master plan. But the master plan deals a lot with zoning, and how we're going to move forward and with the zoning part of it. If we're going to change things, we look at the master plan and see if it fits in with that. The master plan really doesn't have to have anything to do with like the snow melt.
Does the has it been talked about maybe enlarging the downtown area, buying different houses up and enlarging the downtown area?
That would be in the master plan, yes.
Would that be then? Would that then be a possibility for the city, or is it sort of like you don't really want to do that unless you really have to?
Yeah, I mean, we look at it as things come up, but also I said we have this downtown vision. The downtown vision is probably something we look at for more of the expanding the downtown than the master plan, but we look at both of them. So.
Okay, does that answer your question, listener, or do you have something else?
Yes, yeah, it does. Thanks, Kevin.
All right, thank you very much for the call. 616-395-1450. If you have a question for Zeeland Mayor Kevin Klynstra, 616-395-1450. What I was going to ask you, Kevin, sort of ties in a little bit with that caller, but it's a little bit different. And it was in last night's city manager's notes from Tim Klunder about the Planning Commission probably going to put forward to the City Council a resolution to rezone the property of the community restaurant site so that it can be rebuilt. When the fire destroyed it earlier this summer, it had been grandfathered in where it was, and if it wasn't rezoned, they couldn't rebuild at that site. Are you aware of this development? And if so, is it something that you see council moving forward on?
Yes, that was brought before the Planning Commission last week, and they explained what went on. And yeah, it's a different size lot than what most commercial size lots are. So we had to do some looking at that to see if it would fit with how it was zoned, and we decided that if they wanted to rebuild, that we would have to change the zoning on it. And we did, and I think City Council will go along with that as well. Everybody likes community restaurant. We'd like to keep them in the city, and yeah, if we can do something to help that, we decided that was what we were going to do.
Okay, I just was kind of, we've gotten some calls about, will they rebuild the community restaurant? And this is one of the hurdles that probably needs to be cleared before that facility on the east side of town is rebuilt. One other thing too, and this is sort of out of left field, and Kevin, I apologize if it is a little thing, but we have the community restaurant on the, or well, should have eventually on the east side of the downtown area. Of course, there's Frank's and a couple other places right in downtown, but on the west side of the city, but not connected to downtown, is is that restaurant next to Captain Sunday's
and the farmhouse.
Yeah, but there's it's not really connected to downtown. I don't know whether or not anybody has approached the idea. If we really want to have sort of like a unified downtown, can we find some way of connecting that area to the rest of downtown? I don't know whether or not it might be feasible in our lifetimes, because there's maybe about a half mile or so, or maybe even a mile of residential houses and all that along Main that, let's put it this way, you can't really move people out right now.
No, that's true. And, but there is a commercial district on Washington. It runs there's a strip mall between Jefferson and Colonial, and it runs all the way to the farmhouse and Captain Sunday. So we do have commercial there. So that ties in. But yeah, I don't see in our future that downtown business district would stretch all the way to the farmhouse, and it'd be a nice thing to have. But I would hate to lose all those residential houses, as well as seeing that that's a big thing too, that we need affordable housing in our city and in our county.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just sort of, imagining things and maybe looking down, the road 20, 30 years from now. Again, neither one of us will be around, but you never know. The other thing too is the fact that for the most part, there are some places still that Zeeland can be built up, but for the most part, within the city limits of Zeeland, it's built up already. You really don't have a lot of vacant land you have left around the city that you can do some building around right now.
That is correct. And so what we do have left, we have to look at very carefully. And we just changed the zoning for Old Church on State Street to become residential. So, we can be flexible, and especially when it comes to housing. And we looked at some other areas. We did a tour with the Planning Commission last month, and to drive around the city and look at where there was vacant lots, what can be done with them. And we looked at the building that has been going on commercially and residentially. So it was a good thing to have. But we like the caller said, we look at the master plan and see what fits in there, and how it will benefit the city.
We mentioned this during the conversation last segment about some of the things that went on during the business meeting last night with the Zeeland City Council. One of the action items, and I want you to sort of amplify this for us, is the Business 196 beautification concept endorsement. Trying to make that stretch of highway look a little bit more pleasant, Kevin?
Yes, it's a busy road. A lot of people use it every day. Last numbers I heard is around 35,000 vehicles travel that road every day. It's people have when they ride it, they don't drive through our city. Then that's about the only thing they see. So we want to give people a good impression of what our city is like, and not having to look at pretty much nothing as they ride through there. So we'd like to beautify that a little bit and make it look a little better.
Kevin, the other thing too, and I mean, you touched upon it right there. Yeah, people might see the Zeeland sign on the eastern edge of it, with the Eastern Gateway, but for the most part, what they see of Zeeland, if they're going to be driving even close to it, they're going to be seeing it on Business 196. So, to make it look nice, and for the most part, it's not as if it's they're going through heavy industrial when they do drive that stretch.
No, you're not. And we had a meeting with the MDOT last week, a group of us, the mayor of Holland and myself and the two township supervisors, to look at what we can do and what they can do, because they plan on rebuilding that section probably starting next year. And they were going to do something very simple, just replace the concrete, but we would like them to do some upgrades as far as beautification. So maybe they were going to delay that project a couple of years and see once what they can do. But that's a big maybe. So we'll see once what happens.
A couple of things looking ahead. First of all, we talked at the beginning about snow melt. There's, according to the city manager's memo, there's going to be a 7:30 a.m. meeting this coming Friday to talk a little bit about the snow melt issue over at the community center. So those business owners might be interested in that. If you have the calendar in front of you, Kevin, what things can we look forward to? We had the Parade of Lights 8 days ago in Zeeland. Anything else special before the holidays or during the holiday season in the city?
Well, next week's a big one. We have my mayor's coffee at the community center. So from 11 to 1, come down. And my guest of honor this year is going to be Amanda from the library, our new library director. You can meet her, say hi to her, and yeah, have a pig in the blanket and some goodies, and just talk to residents that are there. So it's usually a nice little get together. So come on down on next week, Thursday from 11 to 1.
And of course, when we chat again next month, we have to start thinking about the budget process.
That's right. It'll be a happy new year.
And let's hope it is a happy and safe new year. Kevin Klynstra, Mayor of the City of Zeeland, as always, thank you very much for your time and your thoughts on this sort of dreary December morning. Wish you, and again, everyone in Zeeland, well for a happy and blessed Christmas and New Year's time. And if all goes well, we'll do this again in about 4 weeks. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Gary, thank you. Merry Christmas, and Merry Christmas to all the listeners.
Thank you very much, Kevin Klynstra, 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.